Hello everyone, I Dhananjay Gupta welcome you all on behalf of Hindu Center of Atlanta's weekly spiritual learning program for, for adults. Today we are joined with Acharya Brahmadevji. Acharya is delivering a lecture on series Vedic Hindu Scriptures and Allied Texts. We will be concluding this week. Acharya Brahmadevji has an inclusive educational background in science, banking, management, and Darshanacharya Vedic philosophy, Darshan Yoga Mahavidyalaya, Gujarat, and a diverse career in financial services, industry, and at Arisava, Mauritius. He has been a key resource person for Arisava, Mauritius on the universal Vedic values, yoga and meditation, and on interfaith and intercultural dialogues at various international and national forums. The Mauritius Council of Religions are representatives of America, Greater Atlanta Vedic Temple, and Hindu Center of Atlanta in Cumming, Georgia. He is author of numerous insightful articles on Vedic philosophy and contemporary issues in English and French. Over to Acharyaji.
Om. Namaste, everybody, and welcome. Let's bring our mind to focus. Sit down straight with the back, the neck, and the head in one vertical line. Deep inhale and exhale 3 times, just observing the breath in and out of the nostrils. And we are going to chant Om 3 times with 3 long breaths. Join the palms together, rub them gently, cover the eyes, and open the eyes slowly below the palms, and transfer the energy to the facial muscles. So we'll be concluding this particular topic of the Vedas and the allied texts, just doing a brief overview. The Vedas, the scriptures, or Shruti as they are called, because that knowledge was transmitted by the rishis through the oral tradition, word to mouth, and the revelation was in the form of the 4 tomes of the Vedas, Rig Veda, Yajur Veda, Sam Veda, and Atharva Veda, given to 4 rishis, Agni, Vayu, Aditya, and Angira, by God putting them in the meditative state, Samadhi Avastha, and then revealing the knowledge there. You should remember that the knowledge of the Vedas is eternal. It's always with God. And when we are born as human beings, it's already inbuilt in us. It's just that we have to unfold that knowledge. Ved means knowledge, from the root word vid. And if we just take the patience to sit down whenever we are faced with a problem, do some deep thinking, we'll find the best of solutions. This is one way of how God is continuously inspiring us with knowledge. It's the same way that the knowledge of the Vedas were really revealed to these four rishis, where then they unfolded that in going further into Samadhi and bringing that knowledge to us with all the bhashya, that is the interpretations. Then we have the Darshan Shastra, the Upaveda, the Darshan Shastras, the Upanishads, unfolding both the worldly knowledge and the spiritual sciences, which is in the Ved mantras. The mantras are not only for chanting like this or for doing soha, it's full of, as we say, physical sciences, social sciences, and spiritual sciences. Like we took the example, Ayurveda is the medical science, the Upaveda, Atharva Ved. We have the military science, Gandharva Ved. We have the music, and the music side is the Gandharva Ved. And so many things like that. And it is known that there were about 1,830 codified texts developed on the knowledge of the Vedas. But then when India, unfortunately, was invaded, like Nalanda University, Takshila University, the libraries were burnt, and it burnt continuously for 6 months. So just see the amount of knowledge that was destroyed. Fortunately, we had Maharishi Dayananda Saraswati, who came and gave us the way of correct interpretation of the Vedas, gave us the way to interpret it, to unfold all these sciences and live life towards being a better human being in day-to-day life. That was application, through the application of both the physical, social sciences, as well as the spiritual sciences in whatever we do in life. Because spiritual sciences enables us to be ethical. Then we covered the Ramayana and Mahabharata, taking the gist of some parts of that, and to show to people how Sri Ramchandra ji and Yogeshwar Sri Krishna ji led a life where whatever they preached, they were walking the talk. Walking the talk because they were role models, ideal human beings for that era. And also, when faced with problems, how they came about to find the solutions. And one thing which is known is that both the wars which were fought, the Ramayana and the Mahabharata, were fought on certain code of conduct. Dharma was never set aside. Ethics were never set aside. War was fought only during daylight hours, between sunrise and sunset. Because before sunrise, people were waking up, getting into the daily duties, and the daily duties included prayer, meditation, connection with the divine, with the divinity within us and with the Supreme Being, Ishvara God. We find that they were doing Sandhya, twilight, then they were doing Havan, and after that, they went to fight. That's why ethics guided the worst of times, the battles. We find certain of the warriors using crooked means, but eventually then at the end they failed. Like the Chakravyuh, which was set to corner the son of Arjun, that was unethical. So it's a question of, there's another issue when it was said that Guru Dronacharya, when he was the plan was made to get him to kill him because he was a fierce warrior, how to get him down. Then Yudhishthira was told to tell Guru Dronacharya that his son Ashwathama died when he was really alive. What happened there is there was an elephant whose name also was Ashwathama. And that elephant got killed. And Yudhishthira said Ashwathama died. He didn't say Ashwathama, the son of Dronacharya, died. He knew in himself that when he was referring to Ashwathama died, it was the elephant Hathi, not the son of Dronacharya. But Dronacharya didn't take that whole picture. He thought his son died, and he just came down of the chariot, laid down his arms, and that was the point when he was killed. Because he did something which he didn't do, he shouldn't have stepped out of the chariot. Likewise, we find there are concepts about in all these scriptures urging people to do yajna in daily life. When we talk about yajna, what comes to our mind is having a heaven kun with a fire there and doing swaha and swaha with ghee and samagri. But if we go beyond the understanding of what is real yajna in life, we have the 5 Mahayajna. One is Brahma Yajna Sandhya, which we need to do daily at early morning and in the evening. Best time is when at sunrise and sunset, but according to our daily routine, it can be sometime before and sometime after. We have to seek our convenience, but I usually tell people if you don't have 10-15 minutes to spare for Sandhya, at least take 5 minutes, sit down, do the Gayatri Mantra jap. But when doing the jap, don't do the parrot-like structure. Let's focus fully on our chanting. At least understand in the broad lines the meaning of the Gayatri Mantra. Each time we are chanting, the meaning in the broad lines running into our mind. If not, let's understand we are praying to Ishwar God for the enlightenment of our mind. If we take that, if we take another mantra, Mahamrityunjay mantra, we know that we have to be Sugandhim Pushti Vardhanam. That is, our life should be fragrant. And if our life is fragrant within our family, within society at large, it's through good deeds. It can't be otherwise. So that is the concept of when we take one mantra, even if we don't know the proper procedure of Brahma Yajna Sandhya, we take one mantra, let's sit down in jap and meditate upon it. Let's take at least a general understanding, and that will help us to build our life to be better persons. Then there's the concept of Dev Yaj Havan Agnihotra, which we know. It's giving the ahutis. There also, that is a physical process because we are living life in this universe. Whatever oxygen we are taking, we are giving carbon dioxide. Whatever we are eating, most of the chunk of it, which is not absorbed by the body, goes out as urine, as feces, or perspiration, transpiration. So in one way, we need to mitigate all these negative things that we're sending to the environment. So it's environmental cleansing process as well, by spreading good vapors through yajna in the atmosphere. But then the medicinal herbs have essential oils. When we do yajna, we breathe in and breathe out during yajna. Those vapors go into our lungs and boost our immunity. That's why in the present times, even India having probably being one of the countries with the largest population of the world after China, the second one, and is known to be very poor in hygiene levels or the crowd levels, people not respecting the laws, but still they've been less hit in terms of the number of deaths per thousand of people contaminated. Less hit because one, if we look at their food habits, it's more aligned towards Ayurveda, with the spices, with everything that they use. Like jeera, ajwain, mustard, haldi, turmeric, and all the things, boosting the immunity. That's one practical form. And so many people doing yajna in the mandir, in the temples and everything. So that's also spreading those essential oils, boosting the immunity. And if people would have really take some time and do it in a better systematic way, probably one family in one road, that would have created a better environment. Then we understand the concept now of yajna, which is beyond that. There's the pitri yajna, service to living elderly parents and elderly persons within our household. Serving people who are alive. Pitri yajna with the concept of creating an environment where these people have contributed so much to our lives. At least we are caring for them, caring for their needs. And it's not caring on the physical needs, but also on the emotional aspect and the mental aspect. And we've find the lockdowns of COVID, really people have gone down on the mental level with the confinement. So if we be caring for people, we need to care also, not for the physical only, but for the other aspects of life. Then we have Balivaishu Devyats, Atithi Yats. Atithi doesn't mean like the concept now we invite people to our place. This is not Atithi. Atithi is more focused towards welcoming learned and elderly persons within our homes. Because learned and elderly persons, they share their life experiences, their knowledge, and they enrich us. They give us that extra footing. Probably we need to, like if we take one part of the Ramayana, if you want to read, if we take the Sundarkand itself, if we want to go into the spirituality of it, it will take probably 2-3 days. But probably one person who's understood that, he can sit down within an hour, talk the gist of it to us. So we benefit like that. And that is one concept of yajna, which is Atithi yajna. Then we have Balivaishu Devyats, caring for other living organisms, because these help to maintain the ecological balance of the universe. Now let's look at the other forms of yajna which we know. Dhyan yajna is a gift of knowledge. If we want to know karma yajna, it's voluntary service. If we want bhakti yajna, it's dedicated, like let's say we have the Hindu Center of Atlanta, volunteers are giving their time there. That is karma yajna. And when they are dedicated to the cause to make, to uplift, or to get the activities of the Hindu Center of Atlanta at a higher and better level, that is bhakti yajna. It goes that yajna is the understanding that all actions which we do, which benefit others, overall benefit to society, that is yajna. A gift of knowledge, a gift of time, a gift of money, a gift of food, a gift of listening to people who are in dire circumstances. These are also subtle forms of yajna. But we should remember, when we are giving a gift of time, money, food, or other resources, it should be to people who are in need of that. Like if somebody lacks nothing in his house and we go to give him a gift of food, that doesn't serve much. Yeah, it's good because it's social bonding. Like during Deepavali, we share the sweets. That's for social bonding, creating better social bonds. But say like Deepavali, we take a goodie of essential items, commodities to be used to prepare food, and we give that to somebody needy. That's a better form of Yid. And this give, what happens is when we indulge in such activities, it brings us heightened level of happiness and inner peace. So that's one of the key objectives, and which we can feel the benefit at the time we are engaging in these beneficial, benevolent actions. And remember, another form of yads is ritancha satyancha. Rit, complying to the laws of nature, the laws of the creation, the eternal laws in this universe. Satyancha, be truthful to whatever we do in life. So that's why we find in the Vedas and in the Shatpat Brahman, Yadyo Vai Shreshtatam Karmana. Unfortunately, we find people when they talk about Yadyo Vai Shreshtatam Karmana, many just limit it to the physical Havan Yajya which we do. That goes beyond the scope of that. That's why when we say Yajimai Jivan Jeene ke liye prayas kare, it's more uplifting our life physically, mentally, morally, spiritually, and socially. That's a holistic approach of uplifting that. And why we chose the subject of that, I'll go towards the concluding part now. Let's look at the name Bharat. One of the understanding of Bharat means knowledge, just like Vid, knowledge. And people who live in Bharat were known as Bharatiya. So Bharati is from Bharati, and Bharati means wise, learned people. Forget about the itihas that Bharat, there was a king Bharat who was ruling there. But Bharat itself was known as the world guru, and it was real. That's why we have so many Western philosophers who've interacted with the Vedic Hindu philosophy. They've given their feedback. I will take a few of them. I will just read from my computer. Will Durant, a US historian, he said, India was the mother of our philosophy, mother of self-government and democracy. Mother India in many ways, the mother of us all. When we say Bharat Mata Ki Jai, it's not because we were born there or our forefathers came from there. It's also, as we say, the umbrella is larger than that. It talks about the philosophy, the sciences of government, of democracy, and the knowledge that was there in the rich culture. Voltaire, which is a French philosopher, he said, it did not behove us, who were only savages and barbarians, when these Indians were civilized, learned, to dispute their antiquity. As we say, when we learn from history, they say that people lived in caves. When people were living in caves in the Western world, India people, sone ki chiriya the. We learn it from the itihas that kids were playing with toys made of gold, not of the plastic that kids are playing today. So just like this. And there's one Amouret de Rincourt, another French philosopher, he says, no other culture but the Indian has ever probed the depth of the human soul so thoroughly. So there is no other philosophy or culture which has unfolded knowledge about the self, the soul within the body. In fact, there have been faith which says there is no soul and the body is the whole. When the body dies, that's all. Now they've started adopting the concept that there is something beyond this body. By understanding what leaves this body and the body just falls dead. There's one Chinese, Hyun Sang, who traveled extensively in India. I think it was in the in the year 1500 to 1600. He says, India is a country where saints and sages appeared at different times, succeeding one after the other to enlighten people, that is, noble souls were always born to enlighten people. And in his commentary further down the line, he says, India was a question where doors were never closed in the houses, in the businesses and everything, because there was no thief there. And that was the concept of one, asteya, non-stealing, and second was aparigraha, non-accumulation of beyond of what is needed to live a decent life. Max Muller, he wrote, in the study of the history of the human mind, India occupies a place second to no other country. Then Romain Rolland, another French philosopher, he said, if there's one place on this earth where all the dreams of living men and women can find a home or found a home since the earlier days of humanity, it is India. On the tree of Indian wisdom, there is no fairer flower than the Upanishads and no finer fruit than the Vedant. That is Professor Paul Deussen, German Indologist. Another German philosopher, Schopenhauer, said, in the whole world, there's no study so beneficial, so elevating as that of the Upanishads. They have been the solace of my life. And it is reported that even the son of Akbar, he started learning the Upanishads. And he said, if we have to lead life as a real human being, let's live life on the basis of the Upanishads. Even after all the cruelty that his father did when he invaded India. And that's why when the invasion were there, they destroyed all the knowledge. Because say if people come and become familiar to that knowledge, to that culture, definitely if they find it better, they will adopt it. So not to get those people immersed and to go in the lines of Macaulay. He said that we want people who are born in India, but with them being British in their mentality, in their way of thinking, the way of dress, in the way of food, having food and etc. So that's one way of destroying the culture, that very vivid philosophy. I've given some of the examples by giving the quotes from various philosophers and eminent persons. So if we understand that, we understand that that was a knowledge which was there since the creation of the human species on earth, second to none. That doesn't imply that we don't take the good things that other cultures may teach us, but let's tend, as the Vedas say, Ano Bhadra Kratavo Yanto. Noble thoughts come to us from all sides, but we shouldn't allow ourselves to be drowned or blown off our feet when we are learning whatever good others may be telling us. We need to have our feet on firm ground, and that's why it's good to have an overview of the tree of knowledge of this beautiful, magnificent philosophy and culture. So I'll end the session of today with that. And if you have any comment or feedback, that would be good.
Acharya, it was a very enlightening lecture on this series. We have concluded on this topic this week, and we will start a new topic next week. We have our three main programs over the week. On Friday, we have a program for the kids and young youths, Sanatan Dharm Simplified. In that series, children learn the Vedic mantras and their meaning, and read a story and learn morals from that. And on Saturday, we have a program, weekly satsang, 10:30 in the morning until 12 noon. We can join for our weekly satsang. And on Sunday, we have a spiritual learning program for the adults from 9 p.m. to 9:45 p.m. So please join on for all these programs. We will see you next week. Thank you.
One Om Jap before closing. Deep inhale and exhale. ध्यान के लिए धन्यवाद. Thank you and namaste everybody.